We are learning this introduction to Oracle SQL. Now, what is the SQL? How it helps in querying a database? What is a database? What are the tables? All these things are covered in this lecture. Now, we are learning introduction to Oracle. Before going to SQL syntax and queries, we will just have a look on basic and what are the terminologies involved in the database. Now, we will just quickly go through the lesson objectives. Once you gone through this lesson, you will have to identify what are the disadvantages of a file system over DBMS, discuss the theoretical and physical aspects of a relational database, describe the Oracle implementation of RDBMS, types of DBMS, how the ER model helps in designing a database structure, and also a normalization which will help in reducing the data redundancy so we can optimize our database. Also, retrieve row and column data from a tables with the select statement, create reports of sorted and restricted data, employ SQL functions to generate and retrieve customized data, run the data manipulation language, that is a DML statements, to update the data in an Oracle database. Also, obtain metadata by querying the data dictionary views. Now, what do you mean by metadata and data dictionary views? The metadata will be a data of the data. I'll explain you in detail later on, but just have a look on the theory. Metadata is a data about the data and it is stored in the data dictionary views. Data dictionary contains only the system tables. It will not have the user tables. What are the system tables? What are the user tables? We will have all these things in detail, but later on. Just now, before moving to actual technicality, there are few terms which are very basic and we should know to learn the database aspects. Okay, so we will move to the next slide to have some basic things. The first one is atomicity. Atomicity is a feature of a database systems dictating where a transaction must be all or nothing. That is, the transaction must either fully happen or not happen at all. It must not complete partially. Now, by term atomicity, we will learn this with the example. Suppose there is one transaction of balance transfer. We are transferring balance from account A to account B. We are transferring 500 rupees from account A to account B. Now, the logical thing is that we are deducting the 500 rupees from account A and at the same time we are adding the 500 rupees to account B. But suppose if something happens, our system gets shut down or some crashes happens, some due to what you can say inappropriate activity, our transaction fails. Now, when our transaction fails, it should be fail completely. It should not fail partially or it should not complete partially. Now, if it is, our data will be inconsistent. That means account A is deducted but account B is not credited. So, atomicity is a feature of a database where if a system crashes occurs in ongoing transaction, our transaction is fully rolled back or it not happen at all. By atomicity, we will assure that our data is in a proper place. Next, consistency. A database consistency states that only valid data will be written on the database. If for some reason a transaction is executed that violates the database consistency rules, the entire transaction will be rolled back and the database will be restored to state consistent with those rules. On the other hand, if a transaction successfully executes, it will take the database from one state that is consistent with the rules to another state that is also consistent with the rules. Now, consistency also we will learn by example. Consider the previous example where we are transferring the balance from account A to account B. There are two logical things. Consider first case where our transaction is crashes. Suppose I am moving 500 rupees from account A to account B and suddenly in between our transaction crashes. So account A is deducted but account B is not credited. So data is not consistent. That means both sides are not balanced. In this case, consistency assures us that our data should be consistent by rollbacking the changes. Okay. In the second case, suppose our transaction is successful. That means we have successfully transferred 500 rupees from account A to account B. Now, in this case, our consistent data should be like this. Account A is deducted 500 rupees and account B is credited 500 rupees. So both sides are balanced. Now this is a consistency of a data. So consistency will give an assurity our data should be in a proper way at right time at right place with right values. Okay, we will move to the next slide. Integrity. A data integrity is a fundamental component of information security. It refers to the accuracy and consistency of a data stored in a database. We will just go through the theory. Data with integrity is said to have a complete or whole structure. Data values are standardized according to the model and or data type. All transactions of the data must be correct, including business rules, relations, dates, definitions, and lineage for data to be complete. A data integrity is imposed within a database when it is designed and is authenticated through the ongoing use of error checking and validation routines. As a simple example, to maintain data integrity, consider numeric columns should not accept alphabetic data. In a summary point of view, integrity gives an assurity your data should be of valid domain. Your data should be at right place. Means in your transaction, a numeric data type should have only a numeric values and not other data type values in a simple sense. So integrity is a fundamental component of information security. That means you will be having a proper data, or you can say a proper domain data into a valid domain area. That means in a simple sense, like numeric data will not accept alphabetic data, also a character field have only a character data and it should follow the business rules. Okay, next point, durability. Durability in database is the property that ensures transactions are saved permanently and do not accidentally disappear or get erased. Even during a database crash, the transaction should be rolled back at every point. This is usually achieved by saving all transactions to a non-volatile storage medium. Now, we will consider our same example. In this case, we are moving some amount from account A to account B. Now, suppose our transaction is halfway done and suddenly our system crashes. So, if you want to have your transaction to be successful, you should replicate these values into a safer place. So, if one place is crashed, you will have some values to carry out the remaining process. So durability is a feature of a database. In this, ensures transactions saved permanently and do not accidentally disappear. That means even if there are system crashes, but you feel like that our transaction is successful, there might be chances of failing of one server. That means if a transaction is happening through a server 1, so by accidentally the server 1 is crashes, so your transaction will also be a smooth and complete with the help of the server 2. So in the logical sense, you will feel that my transaction is successful. Yeah, it's successful because of the durability feature. Now, these are the basic terminologies we should know to learn the database aspect. Now, the next slide is give you the representation of the file system. Yeah, the purpose of the introducing you to file system is that you will be able to identify what is the need of the database management system. So that we will have just look on the file system, how data is stored, what are the disadvantages of the file system, and how the file system works. A file management system is an abstraction to store, retrieve, management, and update a set of files. A file management system keeps track on the files and also manage them. Now, by listening this theory, we will have some idea about the file system, that the file system helps in storing the data in the files. That means consider this diagram. There are two users, one here and other is here. Okay. Now, suppose one user logs into this system, have some operations of account and data entry, and then the target is the file. It's not a database, it's a file. So whatever transactions happen in the organization, those data and information is stored in the flat files. The files may be flat files, .csv files, Excels, anything. The main point is that the data is stored in a file. Okay. Now, we will go through the disadvantage of a file system. Here are the list of the various disadvantages of a file system. Now, first one is data redundancy. The data redundancy is nothing but a duplication of a data at various places. Means, suppose, we will come back to this slide again. Suppose user A is logged into the system. He has some operations of a database, or he has done some operations on data entry or accounts. So the whatever information is generated here it is stored in a file. Now suppose some another user log into this system, he also does the same analysis as the user A, same operations as the user A, and here he has generated some files and those data are stored in these files. At the end we are having some files which have duplicates value, means the same data is here also and here also. So how data redundancy is a disadvantage? Suppose if you update the user A files, so you will have only the updated files at user A section, but these files are not updated at the user B level. So whenever user B queries the file, it will be still relating to the old files. Old file means the files which have not the updated results which are done by user A. So it's a data redundancy. It's a very big problem in database. We have to optimize it. We have to reduce it. For data redundancy, we have a one technique called as a normalization. We will see later, but just remember to remove data redundancy and optimize the Oracle table, we will have a normalization concept. The second point, data inconsistency. We will go to the diagram. In data consistency, suppose user A has some files, updated files, and user B has old files. That means these files have the old data, or you can say the data which is not present by user A. Okay. Now some high level users or some manager or CEO which will refer these files. So this section is old file section. That means whenever some high authority will come and will see the reports, or you can say the some managers, CEOs will come and generate the reports based on these files, then there will be inconsistency because there are some sales data happening day by day, but here the files are old. So it is an inconsistency of data.